I know last month we talked with Janet Vegan-Levy from the Susan G. Komen breast cancer about breast cancer awareness, and that month, pretty much you've seen a lot of people wear pink. This month it's a little bit different. It's a little bit something more geared for the guys this month. They're gonna sell. It's called Movember. I know you guys can probably remember the last few years. Seen a lot of guys have an excuse not to shave, but it's for a good cause. And we're gonna talk to the grassroots engagement director from Movember, Tom Whiteside. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good. Now, Tom, how long has Movember been going along, and how did this concept come about?
So it started in 2003. A couple guys were sitting around in Melbourne, Australia, and fashion came up, and they talked about how fashions tend to come back in style, and the joke that the mustache had never come back. And the mustache is the slang of the mo in Australia.
Yeah.
They said, just for fun, just to needle our girlfriends and bosses, let's grow a mo in November. We'll call it Movember, and we'll get together at the end of the month and have a little party. And at the end of the month, about 30 guys did it, and they were all really surprised at how many conversations it ended up sparking. And the next year they came back, and they said, let's put some good behind this. They looked at the health landscape for men, the mustache being a very masculine endeavor, and saw that there was very little awareness and funding around prostate cancer. So starting in 2004, they began to raise funds and awareness for men's health with a focus on prostate cancer. And here we are 10 years later.
Now, Movember, how long, how has it grown since, I won't say how has it grown, but I guess how hard has it been to grow this concept since 2003? But like I said, more and more, I know over the last few years, I've seen more and more people participate in this event, in this annual event.
Yeah. It's still picking up steam in the U.S., but so from 2004, there was just 450 guys participated, and they raised about 54 grand. And then up to last year in 2011, 854,000 people around the world participated, and they raised about 126 million. So it's grown incredibly fast in the last 9 years.
And now you said it's pretty big in Australia. I guess just up there, what are kind of the numbers up there? I'm assuming.
So they that's where it started, of course. So they've hit sort of a critical mass, so to speak, where it's really more of a household word. And they have, even right now, there's about 120,000 registrants already in the country, and they raise on average 24, 25 million a year the last couple of years, which ends up being over $1 per capita because it's a country of about 23 million people.
Okay.
And then the UK has really stepped up. Canada was the biggest last year. They raised about $42 million, which is pretty impressive for a country of some 32 million people.
Exactly. Now this starts on November 1st. So you got me saying Movember. Right, took the end out. Now, especially November 1st. Is this a November, just a month-long thing, or how long does this go?
Yep, just 30 days. We ask guys to start clean-shaven on November 1. This is after registering at Movember.com. And the idea is you grow a mustache, and only a mustache, for those 30 days. So we just ask that your participation, your donation, is your upper lip, basically.
Okay. And with that being said, I guess just what are some more creative mustaches you've seen over the past few years?
Well, they tend to be in 30 days' time. In all honesty, most guys don't have a big, great mustache, but they certainly get creative. There's a guy in our office who's actually on a lot of our campaign creatives. You may even have seen him, but he grows a really great mustache, and he's carved it into axes on the side, which is always funny.
Wow. I've
seen guys go, the hairier types that sort of the facial hair blends into the neck hair, blends into the chest hair. I've seen, the mustache go all the way down the torso. So it's all about having fun, though, and it really ends up sparking that conversation just because, when you see a guy with a 10-day-old mustache, you're going, what in the world are you doing?
Yeah, and I just had to, now what you said, maintaining the mustache is not an easy thing, keeping it. What are some good mustache tips? Maintaining a clean, good-looking mustache.
Yeah, so we say both grow and groom. So the idea is that, yes, you need to let it grow and not connect at the bottom or on the sides because that's a goatee or a beard. But that doesn't mean you can't trim it. That doesn't mean you can't keep it neat. So the idea is you let it grow and hopefully you find one that sort of fits you or that, you sort of grow into, so to speak. We actually joke that we say, don't let the mustache wear you, you wear the mustache. So I think it's all about wearing it well and, doing it with confidence.
And now, like I said, I mentioned bringing you in, with breast cancer awareness last month, everybody was wearing pink, and, men, women, kids. How can women participate in this event as well?
That's a really good question. So the guys that join are called Mo Bros, and the women are called Mo Sisters, because behind every great Mo Bro is a great Mo Sister.
Okay.
idea with women is they can sign up at Movember.com just like the men, and basically do everything a man can, except of course grow a mustache. We don't expect them to do that. But as women tend to be the gateway to health in a man's life, whether it's a dad, son, a husband, or boyfriend, we find that the more women that participate, it makes that entry point a little easier for men. And likewise, the women's health movement, like you mentioned around breast cancer, is easily 2 to 3 decades ahead of where men are. So we look to them as sort of a model about where we want to be. And you see the awareness around breast cancer, and basically we want the mustache to become our little hairy ribbon.
Okay. I didn't think about it that way. That's a very good concept. Now, going ahead, and I guess just how can you continue to grow Movember?
It's always been a really grassroots movement. It's even now, this year's campaign, we're 90 total staff across 6 offices around the world. So a really small organization, and therefore our fundraising ratio is very high, or rather the cents per dollar we raise is very low to fund the administrative costs. Mm-hmm. So between social media and just word of mouth, the campaign has really grown a great deal. Like I said, we had about 854,000 last year, and we expect to go over 1 million this year. So it's really about growing that mustache and starting that conversation. And the guys and gals that participate find that it's a lot of fun, and they end up telling their friends and their family, and then more people come back the next year.
Now, you have different events. I know you have a couple nationwide events as well.
Yes, so the main thing we do, we have launches in a couple key cities around the country, and those tend to be fairly informal. It's more of a get-together and to sort of talk about what's coming up and the mustache you might want to try to grow. And then in 12 cities around the U.S., we have a gala party at the end of the month, and this is based on that first year where those original 30 guys all got together at the end of the month. And sort of by chance, they all ended up dressing up. The idea was they sort of dressed to their mo. And we still hold to that today. So if you're in one of the 12 cities around the U.S. with a gala party, we encourage men to dress to their mo and hopefully bring some other friends. And everyone gets together and they recount the month and talk about all the conversations they had.
Definitely not. Now, with that, going into something else, now you guys have a couple partners that you guys have picked up too along the way in this Movember campaign.
That's right. Each country has its own men's health partners. In all of the countries always have a focus on prostate cancer. In the U.S., our 2 men's health partners are the Prostate Cancer Foundation, which is based in Santa Monica, and they fund world-class prostate cancer research, and then also the Livestrong Foundation out of Austin, Texas, who provide navigation services to anybody fighting cancer, and of course our focus is on the men fighting cancer.
And just with how rewarding this experience, I guess, is how rewarding is a campaign, knowing what this is actually helping and promoting awareness for prostate cancer.
Yeah, it's incredibly rewarding. This will be my first campaign as a staff member, though my 4th year growing. And it's really interesting to see because the campaign tends to be a lot of fun. You grow a mustache, it's kind of silly, you kind of look goofy for a little while. But it's this neat and different approach to charity in that it doesn't feel like charity, right? So you end up having a really good time, and at the same time we're making real inroads towards prostate cancer research and development, but also just men's health in general. Our average participant around the world is about a 31-year-old male. And if we can get guys who are that young actually talking and thinking about their health, starting that relationship with their doctor, and not really being afraid to bring up those health concerns, even if there were no advancements in medicine in the coming 20, 30, and 40 years, we feel like we would see a drop-off in specifically deaths attributed to prostate cancer just from the awareness we're raising. So it's really neat to think that this mustache is really sparking a health movement for men around the world.
Now, I have to ask you, since you mentioned, it's your first season, but you've been a grower. Mm-hmm. So what was your best year growing so far?
I think, honestly, the first year in 2009 was probably my best. I went with a trucker, which is the kind that kind of spills down on either side, down your chin. And it really was fun. That was the first year I participated. I didn't really know what to expect. And I'll be honest, it's a little tough up front. The first week to 10 days, it's a little stubbly, and you get some funny looks. But by about halfway through, if you can make it through the first 2.5 weeks, you start to, really grasp on this mustache, and you kind of get proud of it. You kind of, you have this relationship with it almost. And it becomes a bit of a badge. It's a sort of a point of pride. And of course, the more guys that participate, in our case in the U.S., each year, you tend to see the other guys, halfway through the month, and you kind of have that knowing glance. And it's fun because, guys don't really have anything. There's a lot of stuff around women's health, which is fantastic. And again, we want to emulate that to some degree, but men don't really have that health focus in their lives. And so this mustache is really that uniting force.
Yeah, I like when you mentioned earlier, because you see the pink ribbons or the other kind of ribbons for just different the other various types of cancer. I like the fact that you said the mustache ribbon, and now I can something you kind of tie in whenever you can visualize with prostate cancer awareness.
Exactly, yeah. We want brown and the mustache to be associated with prostate cancer in a similar way that women have raised awareness around breast cancer through pink and the ribbon.
Yeah. Now, I guess how's your mustache going so far this year?
I'll be honest, it's pretty terrible. I went clean shaven, and I have a mustache pretty much most of the year because I work for Movember now. And so for me, it's actually funny to not see the mustache on my face. And I'm currently running in first place for what we call the lame-o in the office, which is the worst mustache. So,
I was like, that doesn't sound very promising.
No, I'm hoping it really comes alive in the next couple of weeks. But I'm rocking it like everybody here. There's a bunch of wispy little 7-day-old mustaches, but we're having a good time with it.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because you work for the organization all year. So how do you keep this thing going? Is there any other added pressure to have that mustache all year?
No, not really. It's funny because most people, that's their first question for me is they say, do you have to have a mustache to work at Movember? And I don't, but because I'm out in the community, I do grassroots engagement. I find that if I'm going to go and talk to a room full of men and say, you should grow a mustache, it helps if I have a mustache. I think they sort of take me more seriously that way.
And there's always, I know when you have a campaign like this, there's always a goal. What is your goal that you guys are hoping to reach by the end of this month?
Participation?
Yeah, participation and just everything in general. Some of your goals, the Movember's goals for this campaign, the 2012 campaign.
Yeah, the main thing is just, to beat last year's numbers and continue to grow both in terms of participation and fundraising. We are extremely certain to pass 1 million. We're at 916,000 already, and here we are, it's just the 7th. And we're at already about 25 million raised. And like I said, last year we did 126 million, so we feel very confident that we can best that.
And that's what you always try to do is keep going up and up. Like you said, every year this organization has continued to progress. And a good idea would probably be, I know, like I said, the NFL players, they wear pink all month. You guys should encourage them to grow mustaches the whole entire month of November. They can transition.
We actually there are about 7 players with the Denver Broncos. The offensive lines for both the 49ers and the Jaguars are participating. We have some Eagles that are participating. And then Jay Cutler and Brian Urlacher from the Chicago Bears have said they're participating. So we definitely have some NFL guys growing so far. We had a huge number of players, about 300, that participate in the NHL last year.
Yeah,
of course, they're on lockout right now.
That's a tough subject right now.
Exactly. So we still have lots of guys growing. They're just not in the public eye like they were last year. But in the way that the NHL really helped to get Canada on the mustache train, we hope that the NFL in the coming years will be that really visible sports icon in the U.S. market.
Yes, it seems like you guys are going in the right direction, and like I said, it's for a great cause as well. So hopefully people get out there and grow a mustache. Like I said, I'm growing one, but mine, I know by November, I would estimate November 16th, it will be really bushy and almost unbearable, but I will keep on going. And like you said, the 2-week mark is a way to turn the corner, so you gave me a little bit of hope.
There you go. If you can make it till Thanksgiving, you can ride it out. And I promise that's the most fun, too, because by then, like you said, you actually have a real mustache. And it's kind of fun around Thanksgiving with friends and family around. And those that haven't heard of Movember or don't know why you're participating, it's that great opportunity to start the conversation.
Yeah, just make sure you don't leave any the Thanksgiving turkey or stuffing in there as well. You got to clean it up.
Exactly. You got to keep it neat. You might have to kind of comb it out, make sure you didn't get any leftovers.
Definitely. Tom, I definitely thank you for your time, and thanks for everything you guys do in Movember for promoting awareness for prostate cancer. Now, if anybody wants more information, where can they go and obtain that?
Easy, just go to Movember.com. That's just like the month, but with an M as in mustache. And there you can register, you can make a donation to a friend, you can find all kinds of health stats about prostate cancer, testicular cancer, other diseases that affect men. And yeah, that's the landing hub for all of our countries. We have 21 campaigns in 21 countries this year, and it all starts at Movember.com.
Definitely, Tom. Thanks, and happy Movember to you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
No problem.